to win silverware. Clearly, this is a full semi-final in a row for you. You haven't won one yet. How important is tomorrow's game?
Yeah, it's always a good question. How important is it? And then I can answer very. The next game is always important, but of course, the semi-final is a chance to get to the final, to get your hands on a trophy in the next round. And for this team, it would be a very, very big step getting your hands on a trophy. We've developed a lot in the last 6 months, 12 months from last semi in the Carabao Cup. So of course, it's not just learning to win semis. We've also earned the right to feel that we can go all the way with our performances. We are confident. We're going into the game in good form. So there's no excuses.
I mean, in terms of winning something for you as well, because people can see the progress that you've made, but a trophy is something tangible that you've achieved.
Yeah, of course. You play football to win. You play football to win trophies, to get your hands on a trophy. Even though when you win that trophy, you just move on to the next one. So and sometimes but it gives you the hunger to get more. So of course, the squad is focused. We're ready to give it a go. I think we've prepared well for this game.
Has the squad benefited from that bit of downtime? I know it's not been a lot of time off, but you've had a few more days than usual. And how is the squad looking in terms of doubts and absentees?
Yeah, of course, we're disappointed not having Edinson involved. He's probably the only one that's not, and of course Phil Jones, who's been very out for a long time. They're the only two that's not available for selection, which is a good position to be in.
That's pretty remarkable at this time of the season. In terms of Darren Fletcher, it was announced yesterday that he joined as a first-team coach. Why was that move made? And obviously, I know you spoke about him having Manchester United DNA, but what does he bring to the club?
Yeah, he's got the Man United DNA, and there was a spot open because Mark Dempsey has moved to the academy. We felt he was so valuable there. He's been brilliant in the academy and helping out. So then when this opening came, Darren has been away from the club a few years, but then he's come back doing coaching with the 16s. And with his experience of being here through both successful and difficult times, we felt it was right now for Darren to come in and give us that input. Because I think it's also important that we bring players with or ex-players that have been somewhere else. I've been somewhere else after having worked under Mick Phelan and Sir Alex and Carlos, that we know one way of the coaching, but they've been at different clubs and got different ideas. And Fletch with his ideas and thoughts will improve us in the backroom staff.
James Sabundra?
Ollie, what sort of game are you expecting tomorrow? Because when the two sides met in December, it was quite a cagey affair. And how do you think it changes things, the fact it's being played just over one game tomorrow at Old Trafford rather than the two legs that we're used to?
Well, you have two teams that want to get to the final. That's one thing. We've had 4 days now after Villa, so hopefully we've got more fresh legs. It's a difficult season, but I think we'll benefit from the rotations that we've made. I thought that's going to be important this season anyway, with having fresh legs. And you can see that with City against Chelsea, the amount of fresh legs and sharpness, the intensity they played with after the break they had, and it showed. And that was a quality game, physically one of the more intense games that's been in the league this season, and I don't think there's any surprise there, because they had a few days extra to prepare for that one. Two teams that want to go through. I think the last game showed two teams with respect for each other. They've got more they're not as much possession based against Chelsea. They're more counter-attacking. they've got quick players on the break, so of course we've got to be aware of that as well as their possession game.
Keith Downing.
Hi Ollie, can I just get your view please on the national lockdown that was announced last night, and do you think that your players are safe to continue despite most of the country being unable to go out and work?
Well, of course, it's a hard and difficult situation for everyone. I think last year, since March until now, has been a testing time for everyone. And we are privileged to be able to play football under the protocols that we are working under. Hopefully we can continue. I think mentally, for many, it would be a release to watch games now, especially when we're in full lockdown again. So hopefully we can continue. But we know that we have to work hard to stay within the rules and guidelines, and that we're doing our best to keep the show on the road.
Per Carlson.
Hi.
So last season, obviously, you suffered from 3 defeats in the semi-final, as mentioned. But is that something you have in the back of your head going into this one? And how important is it to turn this table so it doesn't become a mental thing as well?
Well, when you get to a semi, you've done a lot of good work to get to a semi-final, and that's and naturally you play against better and better opposition, and I think we've improved immensely in a year since last semi, even since when we were in Europe in August or July, wherever it was, can't remember now. And so for me, it's a step closer to get to the final. We've developed a lot. It's easy to say, have we learned? But it's not about learned. It's about some fine margins in those finals or semi-finals as well. So when you win games of football, you don't think about if it's a semi-final or just a normal game in a league game or a quarter-final. You just think about this game and you want to win it.
Last question for Andy Mitten.
Morning, Ollie.
Hi, Andy.
It'll be your 7th Manchester derby in 2 years as manager. You've had the edge in results, but aside from the results, have you seen a progression? What type of progression have you seen in the performances in the games against City?
Yeah, I've seen, of course, progress, and sometimes the results don't show the whole picture of the game. Some of our counter-attacking goals and in the wins that we've had have been brilliant. You know, away to in the league when we won, we could have scored 4 or 5 in a 10-15 minute period. A few counter-attacks there were just out of this world. But we've had less control of the ball and we've defended fantastically. I think the last game was more or less 50-50 in possession, maybe a more cagey game from both teams, but still I felt that was a progression, having or stayed more in the game. It's been, you never know what kind of system he's gonna come up with, but you know that you've got to defend really well against Man City, no matter what. It's hard to keep the ball in their half when they've got it, because they find a way of overloading. So you got to be brave, be compact, trust your players. Then again, when we have the ball, we've got to be able to keep it as well and play out of their press, because they're one of the quickest one to put the counter pressure on and want to win it high up. So it's a balance that I think we found that balance. We didn't have the X factor last game, maybe because they were a little bit more cagey and set up to counter-attack more as well. It's been some fascinating games, and I feel that we've gotten closer and closer, and results sometimes you can't control.